1 week season.
OWS fam, Sharp Football Analysis Nation. Again, I had to pause to make sure that my mic was not muted. Here we are. We are back on Searching for Ceiling, presented by 1 week season and Sharp Football Analysis. I am Hilow. I will be joined shortly by the great Mr. Rich Hribar, Lord Reeves, and join us as we dissect this very tight Week 12 DFS main slate. So without further ado, we'll bring him in, Mr. Rich Hribar. How are we in Week 12, brother?
Doing good, man. Listen, following up, you were adamant last week. You said you got to play Sean Tucker. I didn't listen to you, and look at man, he was cooking. So hopefully he brought some early Christmas presents to people out there.
Yes, dude. If anybody were going to do it, it was going to be Sean Tucker. And my biggest mistake last week was not playing Sean Tucker with Josh Allen, which I didn't get to, and I feel like I should have. So I was kicking myself for that. We're always looking for a reason for Super Josh to come out, and Sean Tucker was that reason last week. Here we are, dude. But damn, we fast forward to Week 12. Last week we had a lot of hits. I didn't get the pieces completely together, which is kind of the story of my season, like hitting all over the place, but not getting all of them to align on the same roster. So let's now bring our sights to Week 12. And this slate is kind of tricky. I feel like the field is going to struggle with this slate because for the first time all season, it took 3 months, but for the first time all season, DraftKings is pricing players to match matchups. We've seen ownership. We've seen them pricing players up for ownership. We've seen them pricing players up for getting thrust into an expanded role. This is the first week, and if you don't believe me, go check out the salaries on the New England Patriots who are playing the Bengals. They're all towards the top. Spoiler alert. So that makes this slate even more dynamic and more tricky and more uncomfortable to build for. So I think searching for ceiling and finding these hidden hammers is going to be paramount to our success this week. So with that, let's jump in, shall we? Continuing that discussion, we should say there's not a lot of directional certainty. Why is that on the slate? We have a lot of strength on strength matchups. You look at the Colts and the Chiefs. You look at some of these other games with higher game totals. It's a lot of strength on strength matchups. And I like to liken that to baseball terms, when you have like elite pitching against elite hitting. Typically, the elite pitching is going to win out in that matchup, but it brings a wide range of outcomes because when you have a strength on strength matchup like that, sometimes the hitters are going to break through for a big game. It's similar discussion for NFL DFS in that when you have a top tier offense against a top tier defense, typically the defense is going to suppress scoring enough to mute overall fantasy production. But that isn't always the case. It has a wide range of outcomes, and we could see somebody doing something special to ignite a game environment. And now we have two elite offenses that are kind of in oh shit mode and going back and forth and scoring a bunch of points. So I want to start with that game, this Chiefs and Colts game. How are you seeing this game? Are there any places for some hidden upside here?
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting game in terms of reality, like how it gets played out, especially on the Colts defensive side. Big Lou has always had something for Mahomes. He's given him some issues in the past. Typically, like he would run that blueprint we saw Sean McDermott do a couple weeks ago, where Sean McDermott, basically played dime 70% of the time. They played their highest rate of 2-man fronts. They blitzed at the lowest rate all season. And Matt Nagy walked right into that trap, and Patrick Mahomes had like his highest ADOT of the year against the team playing all umbrella coverage.
Yes.
And but now, we've got the addition of Sauce Gardner. We got Tavarius Ward coming back. The game in Germany, the last time, their one game with Sauce Gardner, they played a season high rate of man coverage. The Chiefs have struggled with man coverage basically this whole season. Like, could this be a spot where, Big Lou flips the script and like he's like, all right, we're going to be a little more aggressive, right? Then you just have kind of this narrative in play too as well. Is just Mahomes never lost 3 games in a row. They're at home. They're going against a Colts team that we've got one sample of them playing outdoors on grass the whole season, and it wasn't good. And against a Steve Spagnuolo defense, like there's a lot of variables in this game because when you just look at it on the surface, you're like, these are the top 2 teams in scoring rate per drive. But then when you go underneath the hood, there's like all these other things that like just add like elements of combustion where it's like, man, this game could fail too. So that's what makes it fun for like a tournament stance, like you said, because we're playing for that outcome where like where could the ceiling lie in this game. I think it's probably like the area where you'd want to attack most, I believe, is like Chiefs passing game, middle of the field stuff, but you also need Matt Nagy to believe in that as well.
Right.
Like Travis Kelce, Rashee Rice are kind of where my mind goes to initially here.
Yeah, I'm kind of seeing similar things shake out as far as where I want to attack this game if I am attacking it. And I think because the ownership is expected to be so low, I mean, we're talking like Jonathan Taylor sub 3%, y'all. Like I have some interest here. When I look at like how this Colts defense has functioned, they're allowing a high completion rate, 69.3% with a 7.9 ADOT. So they are effectively, like you said, playing this off coverage, this umbrella stuff. They are allowing stuff short over the intermediate areas of the field. And then they are kind of rallying to the football in this attempt to eliminate explosives and force teams to march the field. In this current state of the Chiefs offense, they're fine. You're saying like you're going to make us march the field. They're like, okay, we'll march the field against you. Like they're okay doing that. We have Travis Kelce and Rashee Rice who have a 5.8 ADOT. So something that kind of plays into that matchup, which I think that they can rack up the volume here. So, and then on the other side of this game, Jonathan Taylor has some interesting splits here. Jonathan Taylor has seen a 66% boost to his success rate, so his efficiency, behind man gap runs this season. He's averaging 7.26 yards per carry behind man gap. He has scored 13 of his 15 rushing touchdowns behind man gap concepts. And the Chiefs are struggling a little bit. They're allowing about even production to man gap and zone concepts, but they have struggled with success rate. So when we're talking about like a player that's just going to churn out consistent yardage, I think that's there for Jonathan Taylor. And I think that we've seen the Chiefs struggle a little bit giving up explosives on the ground. So I think his ceiling is just as high as any of the other times we've been looking at Jonathan Taylor this season, Mr. 3 touchdown. He scored 15 touchdowns and he scored 17 total touchdowns. He has 5 3 touchdown games already this season. Half of his games, he's ripping off 3 scores. So like, I don't think that the ceiling is any less this week on Jonathan Taylor. And he's coming in. Nobody wants to play him. He's priced up at 10K on DraftKings. It's hard to stomach that. We can't get up there. The matchup looks difficult because the Chiefs are top 8 in points allowed per game. Like, I think it's there, dude. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's there. It's what it is going to be about this game is how the Colts approach this game, because the Colts are a team. When you look at Jonathan Taylor's all his fantasy production, they like to throw to get a lead and then have Jonathan Taylor close that lead out.
Right.
And is that going to be the approach in this game, or do they say we are going to come out of the gates now and try to establish Jonathan Taylor as a strength of this team, because we don't want to have Daniel Jones be the linchpin on the road against Steve Spagnuolo? Because you look at it, like Jonathan Taylor in the first half of games, like he's been a completely mortal fantasy player,
right? Like
still really good, but mortal. He only has 5 rushing touchdowns in the first half. He says only 5.
Only,
He's averaging 4.6 yards per carry in the first half of games, 42 rushing yards per game in first. That's 6th in the NFL. Again, so very good. Just okay. Second half of games, he averages 7.5 yards per carry. 10 of his rushing touchdowns are coming safe. Like I said, they like to get a lead and then just use Jonathan Taylor to just close that out. So 2 of his lighter games have come in the Indy losses where they've had to play out of structure of offense, like where they're kind of dumping out like the RPO, the play action game stuff. So that's the start of this game is pivotal for Jonathan Taylor's, I think, ceiling in this game. Now he could still score touchdowns either way, but for the Colts to stay on script and not just could be kind of in their oh shit mode, is like you always call it. Like it starts at the start of this game. Like, and that goes into like Tyler Warren too. Like Tyler Warren has been completely tied into, can the Colts stay in their base offense, because he gets so much play action, so much RPO action, that when that element is removed from the offense, that's where he struggled too.
With the understanding that the Chiefs kind of operate a similar defense to how we described the Colts, in that they're kind of playing heavy nickel, heavy dime. They're playing soft off coverage. They're forcing teams to march the field. We also have Jonathan Taylor in a route at 64.3% frequency this season. That's a higher rate than Josh Downs. Any untapped potential in the receiving game for him here?
Yeah, I mean, he already has his most receptions and receiving yards since 2021. He's going to blow both of his career highs out of the water. He's over 20 receiving yards in 7 of 10 games. Chiefs are 10th in rate of receptions allowed to running backs. So there is some chance here for him to sprinkle in some extra catches, especially with, Spags dialing some stuff up, sure, for Daniel Jones, who has started the show like the Daniel Jones, like the weaknesses, right? Like the last 2 games, 12 sacks, 7 turnovers. That's the toughest part for me in this game, is getting over the hurdle of Daniel Jones on the road against Steve Spagnuolo.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we're starting to see the pumpkins changing a little bit back, or the carriage, whatever, changing with Cinderella Man's kids. The clock is approaching midnight for Daniel Jones, it looks like on paper, but yeah, I just thought that was an interesting spot. The field's not going here, so if we're
I think the field is their biggest hurdle with Jonathan Taylor is just trying to fit him in this week. Like
right,
that's the where the field is stumbling on trying to jam him in.
right, 100%. I mentioned in the intro that we didn't have a lot of directional certainty, but we did have these wide range of outcomes spots. That was one of them that we talked about. Let's talk about these other spots where we can be a little bit more comfortable with expected production. And the first one that comes to my mind is the Detroit Football Lions. How are you seeing this spot on paper here?
Yeah, I mean, everything just lines up for this offense to get right back on track, kind of get that nasty taste out of their month. All their losses, they've come and they've won by just huge totals. They've won by 15 or more points after each loss. And then just structurally, like where this offense has success is where the Giants are at their weakest points. I mean, they've struggled to defend play action. They're 23rd in completion rate against play action passes, 20th in yards per pass attempt. Obviously, Goff's 4th in drop back rate against play action. Also, Goff's been amazing against man coverage this year, which absolutely tracks. He's the second best quarterback in rating, 4th in yards per pass attempt, 5th in touchdown rate, 10 touchdowns, no interceptions. Giants are playing man coverage on a league high, 41% of passing plays. So, and they really haven't broke tendency, because they've had all these secondary injuries, and they're like, this is just what we do. So
and coaching changes, everything. They've just continued.
Because there are these teams that adjust on the fly, like the Broncos have adjusted without Pat Surtain, what they've been doing. The Steelers have totally adjusted these last couple weeks, but like the Giants are like, this is what we do. And they're going to go into Detroit and do this. We lose a little bit of the sting without Jackson Dart in this game, I think, but still the Lions side is going to carry water here, at least on their own. And when you remove a piece like Sam Laporta, and it's not like you just can't punt with Brock Wright if you want, but when you remove an actual piece from Sam Laporta, it does give you more confidence in some of the other guys, like a Jameson Williams, right? Like when you remove that. So, and they're using Jameson Williams so much more effectively over the past month. I know Dan Campbell gets the credit, but it had started before the switch also.
Well, they were trying. They just Goff was missing him, man.
Yeah.
But they were trying before the switch.
Yeah. Over the opening 5 weeks, only 14% of Jameson Williams targets were crossing routes, 12 were in routes. We've seen that now over the past 5 weeks, 28% on crossers, 21% on in routes. His depth of target has gone from 20.8 air yards down to 9.7. It's just he was getting the types of targets you just don't win in today's current meta.
Yeah, the Alec Pierce.
You can't live like that in today's game. So now he's running actual in the flow of the offense routes. So yeah, I mean, you tell me you like a Lion, I like them all too. So
yeah, you mentioned the man heavy nature of the Giants defense. Amon-Ra St. Brown has been off the charts against man coverage this season. We've seen some interesting splits for Sam Laporta throughout his career. He started in his rookie season just being an absolute house against man coverage. And then this season, he kind of has been better against zone. The top 3 pass catchers in underlying metrics for the Lions against man coverage this season are Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams, and running back Jahmyr Gibbs. So we have a uncertain slate. we feel pretty good about the Lions succeeding. They're coming off a loss. They've scored, like as you mentioned, they've won each game after their loss by 15 or more points. They've scored 44 or more in 2 of those 3 instances. I think we should have a high confidence in the Lions, like scoring 35, 40 plus points here. With Sam Laporta out, condenses the expected touch volume. I have another fun stat for you. Last week, without Sam Laporta, 73% of the team's opportunities went to Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams, and Jahmyr Gibbs. That is absurd. And like, they're playing from behind. They're in a competitive game environment against the Eagles. We don't know how that's going to look. We don't know if David Montgomery is going to be more involved if they are controlling the game environment. But I say like that shit don't matter. Like we should have some high confidence in the Lions succeeding here. I'm all in, man. I think Goff triples are fun this week. Kind of lowers the combined ownership of some of these guys that are going to be owned. But I think it's a tough fade to fade this offense this week.
Hey, jam as many in as you can. That's just you. Jam as many lines as you can. And people forget, like, because we have the Bengals and they're the Bills on. It's like actually statistically, the Giants are the worst run defense in the NFL.
Yes.
They are last in EPA allowed per rush. They are last in yards per carry allowed to running backs, and also they struggle against what the Lions get. The Lions are a big, heavy outside zone team. Gibbs is at 45% outside zone run rate. The Giants have a 50% success rate against the defending outside zone. They also are 20th in receiving points allowed to running backs because they play so much man coverage. Like, these guys get out. So, it's probably a script where you can get to Monty, but like, he's not a guy like I'm going to force in. I just want to play Gibbs. I want to play Amon-Ra. I want to play James Williams.
We look at coming off of this team's last 2 losses, Jahmyr Gibbs put up 41.2 DK points and 39.8 DK points. He did that on 20 opportunities and 19 opportunities. So like, and this is the defense allowing the highest explosive run rate in the league, 9.1%. So like, it doesn't matter to me that DMO might be more involved.
I mean, he had 16 touches. He had 16 touches against the Commanders and gave you nothing.
Yeah. He's going to need 2-3 touchdowns.
He needs 2 touchdowns, which he could get, but like, you're still betting on that.
Right. Yeah. So that's my stance there. Like, just play them all, dude. I'm going to be playing them all this week. One of the higher confidence spots on the slate that we really don't have a lot of high confidence spots. I think my other highest confidence spot, and I'm interested.
Are you bringing any Giants back at all?
So I was playing around with playing Gibbs, Amon-Ra, and JMO with Dart. And then Dart was ruled out like right before we hopped on this pod. So I don't think so anymore. I think it's just play the Lions, like just find the extra, $400 to get up from Dart to Goff, and just make it work that way. I don't think you need to. I think if you are going to any Giant, I think you want to be just tying value to the game environment. So like Isaiah Hodgins, if Darius Slayton is out, would probably be the way I'm going. Again, it's just a way to like get more things right at once with the same bet kind of thing. My next like highest confidence spot, and this has more to do with their opponent than it does their team, but it's the New England Patriots, actually. Talk to me a little bit about how you see this spot playing out. I'm very interested to hear your view on this game.
Yeah, it's interesting because you would just like say like, yeah, it's going to be a spot where the Patriots are able to move down the field. Bengals have kind of given up everything that you would want except for like wide receiver points this season. But Drake May's been pretty interesting because now he's like really expensive and he's the 4th highest priced quarterback.
Highest.
Oh, he's the highest?
Yeah.
Maybe I was looking at FanDuel too.
Yeah, dude.
And when you look at Drake May, like he hasn't given you a lot of games. He's in an excellent football season. But like for a fantasy football perspective, like he hasn't given you like many games that would pay off this type of salary. And that's what makes it a little tricky for him because we know too that like the Bengals also allow a lot of rushing production too. So it could be a game where May is just like hyper efficient. He could throw 3 touchdowns and still just be like more of like a cash gamey type of guy. And he hasn't even thrown for 300 yards yet in a game.
No,
as good as he's been, he's just been hyper efficient. So that's what makes it kind of tricky. I think he's a really solid, like really high floor, but like, is he going to be able to give you like a 35, a 40? 'Cause this quarterback slate, I do think offers like some really potential to be like, to have some really crooked numbers. Like we talked about Mahomes. There's some volatility with a guy like Mahomes, so I think he could have like a really high scoring game. Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, like there are potentially like some real high scoring quarterbacks on the slate. So if he's just going to give you like a 25 at the highest priced quarterback, that's something. Do we leave that on the table? Like how cute do we get in terms of building? Obviously, Travion's probably the guy that offers the most maybe juice per dollar, even with or without Ramondre Stevenson, just because the Bengals have been so horrible against running backs all year. They've allowed 7 RB1 scores in their past 6 games. 8 top 15 scores in the same 6 games, and a pair of teammates even to have top 20 in 3 different games this season. They're allowing 35 more total yards to running backs than the next closest team.
Yeah, it's absurd.
It's just absurd. So I don't know how are you handling the Drake May situation? Obviously, it's a great spot, but like the salary and like the overall ceiling is where I keep tripping myself over.
I echo pretty much everything you said. What I think is the most interesting angle is another guy that you mentioned in Travion Henderson. So I think the field is getting spooked by Ramondre expected to be back. But if we look at this offense, in each game over the last 6 weeks, they have utilized a primary lead borderline workhorse guy and then a strict change of pace guy. And we go back to week 6, the first week 6, week 7, week 8, that lead guy was Ramondre Stevenson. He played no fewer than 72% of the offensive snaps. Then he gets hurt. We have Travion Henderson with a snap rate of 75%, 84%, and 88% in weeks 9, 10, 11. So if I'm sitting here trying to like read this situation, I think we can say with a high degree of confidence that this team is going to use a clear lead borderline workhorse guy and then a clear change of pace guy. Now, if you're spooked of Ramondre immediately coming off of injury and jumping back into that lead role, okay, there is uncertainty here. I think it's much more likely that we see Travion Henderson be that 72 to 80% guy here.
And he's a turf toe injury. So like,
yeah,
even if he's active, like what are we expecting? Like there's a lot of volatility with a guy with a turf toe.
Yes, I think, and we're looking like, it looks to me like the field is entirely spooked because Travion Henderson is projecting horribly. That, like, I don't understand what the projections are, what the inputs are for these projections. He's currently being projected for around 12.5 to 13 DK points this week. So he has like a big red number next to his name that says like his salary multiplier is projecting as trash. That is keeping his ownership. He's currently projecting for like 5 to 6% ownership. And I came into this week and I was like, ooh, like Travion is overpriced. And that was when I thought Ramondre would be out. And then I started digging a little deeper and I was like, hold up. Like if he's going to be this low owned, like this is my hidden hammer number 1 is Travion Henderson. And I think he's a hidden hammer because like he's kind of hidden in plain sight, y'all. Like he's playing the Bengals. We've seen the Bengals dead last in fantasy points allowed to opposing backfields. They are near the end, the bottom of the league in explosives allowed to the position. Travion is the more explosive back. So we think back to like last week, how did I arrive at Sean Tucker? Like if anybody's going to do it on the Patriots, it's probably Travion Henderson.
Here are some names that the Bengals have allowed RB1 scoring weeks to. Dylan Sampson.
I want to talk to Sampson.
Isaiah Davis. RJ Harvey. Kyle Monangai. Kenneth Gainwell. Jordan Mason. Like this isn't, they're not out here getting blasted by Jonathan Taylor. Like they're giving up huge games to just dudes. Like, this is how bad this defense is. And you know, that's why I was like, still like trying to tell you last week. I was like, well, I'm still just going to play Warren because the Bengals are that bad. And, you know, Warren could have had a good game maybe, but but like this, I have no, like, this is the worst run defense or the worst, like just defense against running backs that we have in the league right now. Like they've given up over 170 total yards to running backs in 4 straight games.
I'm in, man. I'm in on Travion.
And then, like I said, how are you handling the Drake May side of it?
I pretty much echo what you were talking about. I think it's silly that he is the highest priced quarterback. He's sniffed a 4x salary multiplier at 6.9 just twice this season. We've seen, and I think there's a lot of misunderstanding of what this Patriots offense is. People point back to, hey, they're still top 5 in the league in pass rate over expectation. It's like, okay, well, they're bottom 5 in the league in pass rate. So like they are not expected to score a lot of points because they have lost 2 games. They're 9-2. They've rattled off 8 consecutive wins. Like that's pretty hard to do in the NFL these days. Like, yeah, sure, they had the easiest strength of schedule in that time. But guess what? They get another easy game this week. And what have they done? They've had a bottom 5 overall pass rate in that stretch. So like, I'm just going back to this backfield really. I'm not messing around with Drake May. Before we continue, I have some exciting news. Black Friday sale starts now at 1 week season. You can get 80% off site-wide subscriptions on any level. Choose your flavor, pick your fancy. Head on over to oneweekseason.com. You can sign up for any sub for an 80% discount, and that will run through the end of the Thanksgiving weekend. So through the end of week 13. So you can all go check that out. All right. Where should we go now? Are there any other spots, any other games, any other teams that you want to discuss here?
What do we got on the board here? Well, game environments. What do we want to do? We got to talk about Jags Cardinals, I think.
Yeah, let's go there. After what the Cardinals did last week, man, we got to talk about it.
Well, yeah, the last couple weeks. It's not a dissimilar situation than what happened with, Joe Flacco joining the Bengals, right? Like this Arizona defense has deteriorated in recent weeks due to, injuries, the state of the season. It looks like they will get Will Johnson back, maybe, which could be pretty significant as well. But the one thing though about this game is the Jacksonville Jaguars out of their bye have really swerved run heavy. And it looks like Baron Browning still is going to miss. We don't know if Mac Wilson's going to play. And the Arizona run defense has, gone into the tank. So if we've got Liam Cohen not wanting to put the ball in Trevor Lawrence's hands as much, insulate him and run the football. Do we have a spot where now the Arizona Cardinals maybe aren't in the spots that they've been in the past 2 weeks? Because they were down 38-7 at the half against the Seahawks. They were down 13-0 5 minutes in the game last week. The opening kickoff gets run back to the 1 yard line. CMC scores. I would love to know how many games start with a 1 yard touchdown.
Yeah.
Probably not very many. They punt the 49ers score in 5 plays. It's 13. The game is in that stage right away. If Jacksonville is running the football, they have a 46.8% drop back rate since their bye. It's 30th in the NFL. Opponents have only run 58 plays per game against the Oilers fans, 60, 55, and 45. So it's not even just like last week was an outlier against the Chargers. Arizona under Jacoby Brissett is second in the NFL in plays per game at 70 plays per game. So is there some volatility here if the Jaguars are running the football in this game and we don't get that, chasing what we have chased with Jacoby Brissett? That's why I think this game is pretty interesting to talk about.
Yeah, 100%. And add in some more uncertainty with the Jacksonville backfield. I mean, both lead backs are currently, they both got in limited sessions yesterday. Is that correct? I think so. But they're both banged up. So yeah, there's a lot of, this is kind of the theme of this slate is like, there's a lot of uncertainty. There's not a lot of clear top spots. And that goes back to the discussion of why I'm like buying into Travion Henderson is like, what are the chances that he is, and we'll take out like expected production projection, whatever. Like, what are the chances that he is the 75 to 80% back in this week? I guarantee you it's higher than his 5-6% ownership. So that is EV. That's how we create it. It would be far different if we had like 4 value running backs that we all want to play that are in great spots. And it's like, why would you go to Henderson? Like, no, this is a slate of uncertainty. So it's
the top two highest projected guys right now. And we're recording this Friday afternoon, like things could change, but the 2 highest projected guys in ownership are Chase Brown and Bijan Robinson, who are in
Chase Brown yesterday or last week.
And I'm confident Chase Brown's going to catch a lot of passes.
Yeah.
But like outside of that, like the Patriots having a lot of 60-yard rusher in a game this season. Like they're not giving up spike weeks to guys. And then Bijan Robinson, we have the Kirk Cousins factor. For him to be almost the same price as Jonathan Taylor and to have double the ownership seems egregious.
100%. Yeah, like play explosive
No
guys.
CMC on this slate. Hands on bye. So like it is it's a little more wide open. That's why I think we'll get to some Derrick Henry stuff too later. I think that's why we'll see Derrick Henry have ownership
And
because
some
the top
Saquon
end of the
stuff.
field isn't as strong. That's why I want to kind of lock in Gibbs as my like he's where I want to start when I'm building running backs.
Yeah, 100%. I'm a little bit more drawn to the upper echelon. We've diverged a little bit from where we were talking
I
about,
know.
but
It
it is what it is. Jahmyr Gibbs, Saquon Barkley, Travion Henderson. I am targeting explosives, man. And those three guys are like in spots where we should expect some higher efficiency. And then we're just looking for those touchdowns, and all three have proven to be able to rip off the long scores. Pretty much the only thing that's been missing from Saquon this season is like the explosives. He only has 2 carries over 20 yards. He had 17 of them last year. So we're just waiting for the explosives, but like Dallas, give me some explosives. They are giving them up. So yeah, back to what we were talking about here with the Jags and the Cardinals. I think it's fine. I have far less certainty, and I played 11 rosters last week, and Jacoby Brissett was on 8 of them. So I had a high confidence in Jacoby Brissett. I didn't get to all 3 of Trey McBride and Greg Dortch and Michael Wilson. I was rotating the 2 of them. So I missed out on a Bink, but I had a high confidence in Jacoby Brissett last week. I don't have the same level of confidence in him this week. I do think that Trey McBride has a high likelihood of seeing 10 to 14 targets here. So if you want to say like there is our confidence, I will not push back on that. He's priced up at 6,800 now on DK, so it becomes a little bit harder to start playing. I know, right? Like it's about damn time.
Since week 6, only Jonathan Taylor and Christian McCaffrey have scored more points per game than Trey McBride.
I love it, dude. Yeah, I mean, looking for ways to play Trey McBride, it becomes a little bit more difficult when I'm already talking about playing like Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jahmyr Gibbs. It's like probably tight end is the first to go, but I mean, play him. That said, like, what are you doing with Michael Wilson coming off of what do you have? How many targets did he have? Jesus, a lot. 18 targets. What are we doing with him coming off an 18 target game?
Well, I'm ignoring the actual 18 number, and the numbers I'm focused on for Michael Wilson is he had 32% of the targets and 65% of the air yards. Like this is still going to be a pass funnel game regardless, because Arizona is not going to line up and run on the Jags, who have been a pass funnel anyways, with Bam Knight and Michael Carter. It looks like Trey Benson's still going to be at least one more we got. So like even if we get 35 dropbacks, I think at 4,800 that usage rate is still fine. Like that, like I still think that's priced in a spot where on a week 2, we didn't even talk about this. This week we're missing like 12 of the top 36 receivers. Like it's wide open.
Thanks, Jamar Chase.
Yeah, I mean we're with the buys, the injuries, and then Chase's suspension. Like we're like the position's largely gutted. Yeah. So a 4,800 guy that could have a 25% easy plus target share and 60 plus, against the team that's also a pass funnel and is bad against outside receivers. I feel like I don't really want to overthink it that much. I just feel like it's all set up to kind of go back to him. I know it feels point chasey, but I'm not chasing the counting numbers. I'm chasing the usage and what's going to happen here. And he does fit kind of where we need these guys, these sub 5K receivers.
I'm chasing my personal vindication of calling Marvin Harrison Jr. overrated for the past 2 years. That's what I'm chasing.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. You love to see it.
Dortch is the guy I wouldn't chase because his usage rates were only like his counting stats were only there because of the
fourth quarter. That's pretty much it. But yeah, like this has been the season of like Hilow vindication with like the Cardinals. I've been ragging on them for so long and we're finally seeing it. Anyway, how about the Jacksonville side? Are you kind of focusing your interest here to the backfield, or are you kind of expanding out of that?
I don't, with Will Johnson coming, if Will Johnson plays, then it's just, I don't know how I would attack it with Brian Thomas coming back as well. So Brian Thomas Parker Washington, Jacoby Myers. We might even get Brenton Strange.
Yeah.
Like, so it's just trying to sort that out is unless you, I defer to you if you have something strong. Cause I just don't have anything strong out of that quartet of dudes that they're all active on a team that's been trying to like, I don't want to say they're not hiding Trevor Lawrence, but they've swerved into
They kind of are
not being as aggressive recently. So, I mean, do you think does Tootin have any possibilities to have like he's not going to have a Sean Tucker like game, but is there anything for him to be like a guy that could have any type of upside?
I think if anybody on the team is going to have a Sean Tucker game, it is him. And I've been buying into Bashal too, and I've been buying into this backfield since best ball season. We've just seen like the ebbing and flowing of the opportunities and the snap rates. I mean, it
was like a true 50-50 split last week until he left the game.
Right. And then like Travis Etienne even was playing through a shoulder injury, and that's why he's on the injury report this week. So like there's a lot of uncertainty here. It becomes so much clearer like if one of those guys misses. It's unfortunate that it looks like if either one is going to miss, it's going to be Bashal Tootin. But he's my preferred option, I think, in this backfield for the like per touch upside. If we're talking about a back that is going to grind out like 5-6 yards a carry and see 15 to 18 opportunities, that's probably Travis Etienne. Yeah. If we want like that, like punch you in the gut and do it again, I think it's Bashal Tootin. So,
but I think Tootin, even if it's a situation where it's a split, Tootin is very David Montgomery adjacent, and David Montgomery's going to be played way more than he will. Yeah. And like we have evidence too of even when both backs are playing, Tootin still gets goal line carries sometimes. Like it's kind of interchangeable.
And he scored that red zone touchdown receiving as well.
Yeah. So I mean, it's interesting. Him versus David Montgomery, I think, is interesting because if the field wants to play David Montgomery at a significantly higher rate, what's the real difference here? And I would argue Tootin maybe even has more paths than David Montgomery.
Concur. And I think that you're starting to get the sense of like the theme of this slate, where we should be a little bit more comfortable embracing higher degrees of uncertainty or variance. If the field is going to express such a high degree of certainty, and we see that with the chalk that's developing on a slate where there really isn't a ton of certainty, like just swerve, man. Like be okay embracing the Sean Tuckers of this week. That was not a high confidence. Like how often in 100, if we played out last week 100 times, how often would Sean Tucker return the game that he did? Maybe once, maybe twice, 3 times, a handful of times. But that's not what wins you tournaments, like playing safe via the projections. Like we have to be okay, particularly on a slate without a lot of directional certainty, like embracing it when it makes sense. And I think that discussion can lead you to the play of a Bashal Tootin over Dave Montgomery, where it's like, okay, he's priced around 5-6K. He gets you 15 points. Is that winning you anything? Not really. And that's what this is about, man. If you want to min cash, go play cash games. We want to win some tournaments. We're searching for ceiling here. So Bashal Tootin, that's my spiel. I'm done. Anything else to add from this game before we poke around here a little bit more?
Nope.
All right. I think another interesting game that we need to talk about is this Eagles and Cowboys game. And this is it's strength on strength matchup on one side, as in the Eagles defense and the Cowboys offense. And then it's kind of like weakness on weakness on the other side with this Eagles offense and the Cowboys defense. But similar to the discussion of the Colts and the Chiefs, like that's just a wide range of outcomes.
Yeah.
If something happens that ignites this game environment, like how could we coax a little bit of additional aggression out of the Eagles? Or how could the Eagles kind of start taking control early in this game and forcing an already pass-heavy Dallas team into some increased aggression? That's, I think, where the upside comes from. So, like, for those reasons, I am interested in game stacks from this game. And for those that catch the DFS labs that we put out every week over at 1 Week Season, I built a game stack around this game on Tuesday because it's kind of sticking out to me. Like I projected, we're not going to see an overwhelming amount of ownership here because salary is tight and the players are priced up. But this is a spot where I'm definitely interested in game environment bets. So complete game stacks. How about you?
Yeah, 100%. Just because, like you said, we can talk about the avenues where it fails, but like we're just trying to find out how we can get it to succeed. Because there are definitely plenty of things with that. Lane Johnson being out, like the Cowboys basically having 6 new players on defense.
Yeah.
Through injuries and trades. Also, just the state of the Eagles' offense. Like I always think of the quote in the first Blade movie where it's like some efforts are always trying to skate uphill. Like that's the Eagles' offense. Like it's just it's so rough. Like they do nothing creative. There's
So
no
unimaginative.
when's the last time that you can even remember an Eagles pass catcher like running with the football? Like
Yeah.
like just in space, like doing anything. It's because even some people last week, like you're trying to talk yourself into like some of the man coverage splits, and you're just like, well, even if it's man coverage, it's just hitches and go routes. Like it's
Right.
like it's never AJ Brown catching the ball on a slant and then getting to crate after the catch, right? All their yak is just beating a guy downfield and then getting to run into the end zone.
Yeah, with no defender behind him or in front of him. I mean, yeah.
And that's and we're gonna get. I would assume Matt Eberflus is gonna largely run back what he did in the first game, and he's gonna play a ton of zone coverage.
Yeah.
And take away first read stuff. And like Kevin Patullo is gonna like, what does he have to like what does he have creatively to like lean into that?
Do
So,
something, dude.
Yeah.
I think there are 2 places for signal from the Eagles. We look, and it has to do with the Cowboys defense. Like, is this defense materially better against the run with their recent additions? I think that kind of remains to be seen. We've seen the Cowboys give up explosive runs at let me get this right, the second highest rate in the league at 8.6%. So again, like what we've been missing from Saquon is the explosives. Like this is a spot where we could see that happen. Now, I remember us talking about Saquon the last time these 2 teams played. It didn't materialize then. I think I'm kind of going back to the well here. If it's going to happen, we know what the ceiling is. And again, like they're not doing the same stuff to get him yards before contact. And he's had to do that like backwards hurdle shit this season to like do anything. It's still there, I think. So that's one. The other is the Cowboys have been in cover 2 or cover 3 on almost 55% of their defensive snaps this season.
Mm-hmm.
I think that might increase here. Philly pass catchers against cover 2 and cover 3 this season, it's pretty much all Devontae Smith. He has 0.25 targets per route run, 2.78 yards per route run, 0.56 fantasy points per route run. Dallas Goedert's at 0.22 targets per route run. AJ Brown's all the way down at 0.17 targets per route run. So I think Smith is an extremely sharp way to get exposure to this game. If I'm playing a one-off from this game, it's probably either Saquon Barkley or Devonta Smith.
Mm-hmm.
And then I want to include those guys in game stacks as well. Any other stuff to talk about from the Eagles side here?
No, yeah, that's really kind of my avenue too, is that Devontae Smith's a little bit too cheap. The first time these teams played, Jalen Hurts had his lowest target rate to wide receivers in his career. I would assume that's not going to be the same here. That goes. I still think when I look at the Dallas defense on paper now, and if you're just judging it by talent and not performance, because we'll see, like they have to do more proof of concept than just the Raiders game,
Yeah,
for us to like believe like it's complete 180. But I still think like they're on the boundaries is still like their weakest point. So even though that both guys had bad games, and we have to take faith in Kevin Patullo, I'm more in on Devontae Smith. But I do think the receivers are set up to still be the way that I would attack the Dallas Cowboys. Now, does that lead to fantasy points? Remains to be seen. But that's still the signal for me is that you would want to attack those players. And like I said, I prefer also Devontae Smith as well.
I'm with you. What about the other side with the Cowboys? Because it looks like we're not going to see a lot of ownership kind of congregate here.
Yeah, and I just struggle with the ceiling potential. I could see the Cowboys pushing the Eagles and like getting points and like scoring points somehow, but like where are the individual games coming from at these salaries? CeeDee Lamb, the most points he scored is what, 25? Like we have a 20, like We just don't have any spike weeks. George Pickens has 2 30-point games, but is this the spot like against Quinyon Mitchell? Because when Lamb moves into the slot, Quinyon Mitchell's not going there.
Yeah.
He'll be just defaulting to George Pickens and those plays. Does he? So like, I struggle to find the outright ceiling, even though believing that we could get some push here in terms of score, in terms of pushing the scoreboard and getting this. If people are over betters, it still is the game in Dallas. We can get there. I'm more looking at it as the Dallas collective being able to maybe push the Eagles, and like hopefully that leads to like a Devontae Smith or some kind of points. But the salaries are just too high for me on these Cowboys receivers.
If I'm Brian Schottenheimer and I'm looking at this game, they effectively, their season is in oh shit mode, right? Like they pretty much have to win out to have a shot at the postseason. They took care of business last week. Cake matchup. This is kind of the true test to me. So if I'm Brian Schottenheimer, how am I approaching this spot? You mentioned Quinyon Mitchell. We've seen kind of these struggles. I don't, struggles is a relative word. I don't want to use struggles, but we've seen the Eagles be a little bit more vulnerable to slot wide receivers. So if I'm Brian Schottenheimer, I am doing everything I can to make CeeDee Lamb like the permanent motion man. I'm saying like, George Pickens, sorry, bro. Like you've been great to us, but you're going to go and just lock up with Quinyon Mitchell. I'm going to do everything I can to get CeeDee Lamb in space, in motion, run play action, run RPOs, and just eat up yardage and targets to CeeDee. So I think that there is legitimate paths to 12 plus targets here for CeeDee. And I think
he had 13 in the first game.
Right. So like, yeah, we'll say the true ceiling hasn't necessarily been there for CeeDee. I think this is a spot where we could see it. I'm more interested in CeeDee if I'm playing this game as a game environment bet. So like CeeDee with Devontae Smith, CeeDee with Saquon, something like that. And I think the best way to do it is to do those skinny correlations as opposed to like full on game environment bets. Or a complete game like overstack. So like Dak Prescott with Ferguson and CeeDee, and then bring back like one or both of Saquon and Devonta Smith. I think that this is an interesting avenue to take on the slate. Any additions to that?
Nope.
All right. We have a couple minutes for some cleanup stuff here. Are there any games that we didn't get to yet that you want to just give a quick shout to?
No, I wish Panthers 49ers was on the slate.
Yeah, I know, right? Or I wish that we had some, like I wish Jackson Dart were playing. Yeah. That would have made the slate a little bit more fun.
Everything else is just kind of one-sided, right? Like we got Ravens, Seahawks stuff, but they're kind of just all big spreads. Anything stand out on those?
You mentioned Derrick Henry earlier. Did you want to talk about him, or are you saving him?
Oh, no, I just say like I think we will get there because, obviously people bring up the November, December stuff with Derrick Henry, which, whatever. But just largely in this spot, he's got 20 touches in each of the past 5 games. He's gone over 100 yards in 3 of those. As a favorite or 7 or more points, he's 120 rushing yards per game with Baltimore as a home favorite. He's averaging 20.2 PPR points per game too. So I think we can get there. The Jets haven't been awful since the trade of Quinnen Williams, but it's, 2 teams that like fundamentally don't really run the ball that great either. And then we have this Lamar like ankle, knee, hamstring stuff. But I do think Lamar can get there passing wise too. So he becomes interesting. So this matchup for Lamar, like if Derrick Henry comes in like wildly popular, I think right now he's like 3rd or 4th in projected running back ownership, and no one wants to play Lamar. This sets up very similar to the Miami Dolphins matchup on paper. You have a team that coming in is not that great against the run. You figure it's going to be a huge Derrick Henry game, but then you also have a team that loves the blitz, but is bad at blitzing.
Yeah.
And that's what the Jets are. So Lamar's faced 2 teams that are good at blitzing and good at playing man, a lot of cover zero. And the Jets are not a team that can give him trouble for that. So I think there's a path here where this could be like a 4 passing touchdown Lamar game.
It always can be. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
just what he does, right?
But without the rushing stuff too, because I think people are like,
Mhm.
well, if he's hurt, like, and he's not going to run, but I look at this game very similar to the Miami Dolphins game, where he can get you 4 passing touchdowns in a game, and if Derrick Henry's coming wildly popular and he's getting boxed out because it's Lamar Jackson 4 passing touchdown game, then you've got opportunities here. Probably not with Zay Flowers; they let him score touchdowns, but he has really tremendous splits against the blitz and man coverage. And since the trade of Sauce Gardner, we've seen Stephon Diggs go for 105, Jerry Jeudy 6 for
Yeah,
78 and
woof.
1. Jamar Chase had 12 catches against them, so he's pretty interesting. And you got Mark Andrews here against a Jets team that gives up a lot of touchdowns to tight ends, second highest touchdown rate to tight ends. So there are some interesting pieces, I think, on the Ravens passing side too. While I say like Derrick Henry is still in play, it's just I want to follow the ownership on Derrick Henry versus Lamar Jackson here coming into this week. So I do think that that'll be an interesting kind of pivot away from the big dog.
Yeah, I got really nothing to add there. We talked about ownership or you just mentioned ownership at running back. There's one guy at the top that we haven't talked about. That's Emmanuel Wilson. Real quick, your thoughts on Wilson this week?
Yeah, I'm waiting to see what the truth is with Josh Jacobs. Right, they play on Thanksgiving, so do they hold him out for that 1 week? The Vikings defense has been pretty good lately. That's the other wild card here. While the other element too is that the Packers have largely been a pretty inept running team all year. It's just that Josh Jacobs stack accrues so much value. I mean, Josh Jacobs has many yards last week in that game as Emmanuel Wilson.
Yeah.
So that's my worry is that the Packers have struggled to run the ball efficiently with Josh Jacobs already, and Emmanuel Wilson's not Josh Jacobs. So I
All
do
those injuries
worry.
up front, man.
Yeah, and Jenkins being out now the rest of the year, like that's where I struggle, right? And
Yeah.
so
I'm with you. I kind of came into the week where like, oh man, we don't have a lot of value on the slate. Emmanuel Wilson is very glaringly like going to
if he
project
was
for
like
the
4 or
best.
5 or something, or like 4-4, I think I'd be a little more into it. But the fact that he's in the fives, it's
Yeah.
like
He projects as the second highest value on the slate behind Chase Brown, but like both of those guys are more floor plays for me this week.
right. And I would agree. Like he's priced right near like Kenneth Walker, who could possess upside if we get that, truth of Mike McDonald said that we were gonna let him score touchdowns, maybe. Uh
Yeah.
that's why I said if his price was somewhere different,
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. All right, let's jump into Hinder Hammers. I mentioned one so far this pod. I'll throw it over to you. Are there any guys that we haven't talked about that you want to bring up as potential hidden hammers right now?
Well, we didn't really talk about him. I kind of glanced around, but I do think Travis Kelce, this spot,
Mhm.
especially in a slate where I think the field still wants to get to as much Trey McBride as possible. And I want to get to Trey McBride as well. I will also be trying to do that, but there are maybe avenues to play both guys. But I really think the spot for Travis Kelce is really good. He's gone over 54 yards in 6 straight games. He's second in yards route run since week 5 behind Trey McBride. Only Trey McBride has more catches and yards than Travis Kelce. The Colts are 31st in yardage allowed to tight ends. They are 28th in receptions allowed per game to tight ends, 27th in yards per target. So I do think Travis Kelce is a guy that I want to get to on this slate. I don't want it to be just where it's play Trey McBride or play like Brock Wright or Mark Andrews, right? I
Yeah,
do want to maybe do some builds where either I can get into one of those mid-range guys and he stands out. So I'll start with him as the first one.
I like it. I am very interested there as well. I'm going to give you a player block for my hidden hammer. This is a 2-person block from a team we've already talked about, and it is Travion Henderson plus Hunter Henry. If you say, where are the 2 spots where a ceiling outcome is likeliest to come from the Patriots? Again, a team that we've identified as like we have a high confidence level in the team succeeding. We don't know like where the points are going. So like if you look at this team, it's kind of funny actually. If you look at this team of the pass catchers, Stephon Diggs, Kayshon Boutte, Mac Hollins, Demario Douglas, Hunter Henry, those 5 guys, and we'll add Kyle Williams. Those 6 guys, each one of them has returned a 4x salary multiplier their week 12 salary once. which is like nobody's done it more than once.
Yep.
And all of them have done it. So we don't have a high degree of confidence. And it's because this team plays, it's how their offense is structured. Like they are a sub offense. They are a sub package offense. They are rotating guys through. They are looking for ways to generate those mismatches. And they are doing so at a great efficiency because, or I think we can point to the efficiency of Drake May as like an indicator of their successes there. But we have a Bengals team that is bottom 3 in points allowed to both tight ends and running backs. Or they're dead last to both positions, I think, to running backs and tight ends. We have clear signal where these two guys are the most involved over I know we have like a 3-game sample where Travion has been the lead guy, but like we have clear signal over the last 3 games that these guys are the most involved around the red zone, around the green zone. So we're really like touchdown hunting. And if we take them combined, they have a combined salary of 10.7. So we have to like play that out. Does this 2-player block have 4 to 5x outcome within their range of outcomes? And I think the answer is yes. For a 5x multiplier on this 2-player block, you need 26.5 averaged points between them. So what does that mean? We probably need 3 touchdowns between them to hit that. I think in this matchup, that is very well within the range of outcomes. There is Hidden Hammer player block, first time this season. You got any others for us?
Well, we got some garbage dudes here at the bottom, right?
Yes, let's go.
If we're gonna try to jam in some other guys, well, one I danced around it, but it's a really gross
one.
one.
Same as mine? Is it?
No, well, we'll see. It's in the same game. We'll see if we got 2. But
okay.
do you want to do first? How much do you hate Adonai Mitchell?
Oh, that was mine. Yeah, that's mine.
All right.
I think the talent is there, dude. Like if he can just catch a football.
That's a big if, but yeah.
And the narrative is, I think, what gives me more interest. Yeah. The narrative is just like, this guy's a bum. Like he's never going to be anything in the NFL. He was like washed out of Indianapolis, comes to the Jets, beats one of the best like man coverage corners in the league multiple times, but drops the football last week. Like, but if he catches those, how we feeling this week?
Yeah, people would be rushing to play him this week. He had 6 first read targets, number 1 on the team. He was targeted on 29% of his routes. This goes back to last year too. Going back to last year, of all wide receivers to run 200 or more routes, he's the wide receiver 13 in target rate per route. He gets open. He also, out of that same list of 140 wide receivers, is number 1 in target rate per route run against man coverage, 42% of his routes. And he, Ravens are another team, 5th in the rate of man coverage, 3rd in single high. Like, it's gross, but he also gets Tyrod Taylor is probably arguably more functional of a quarterback than Justin
Not
Fields.
arguably, it is certain.
I mean, it's a gross play, but like this is how you get to play the guys that you talk about. Like, do you want to play Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs, and Trey McBride? Like, you have to play a 3,200 guy. And so out of all the guys in terms of upside down here in this price range, he definitely is one of the guys that stands out. Like, are you trying to save $700 and get to like Darnell Mooney? Like, who's trying to do that?
Yeah, I ain't trying to do that. Cedric Tillman, have fun.
So he was the first one. I will say too, in that same game, only if you're playing Lamar Jackson. This is only if you're playing Lamar Jackson. I do think that DeAndre Hopkins is interesting. But with no Rashad Bateman, he ran a season high 71% route rate. He had 31% of the air yards. It was behind only Zay Flowers. He has been targeted on 26% of his routes against man coverage, over 3 yards per out run. It's only if you're playing Lamar Jackson. Like, I wouldn't do him as a one-off, but he's right there too.
I dig it.
Another terrible plays. Everyone turned off. Everyone
and we just lost.
And we did bring up Hodgins earlier on the show too.
Yeah, he's the other guy down there. Again, only if and I like him less now that you can't play him with Dart. And we were talking like a combined 9K between Dart and Isaiah Hodgins. If that player block went for 36 points, like, you're feeling ecstatic. So a little bit less excited there. But I think you can still go there as a one-off, or in like we talked about, the game environment bet there. Just fewer things that have to go right in order for you to succeed.
And Slayton has to be out too, caveat.
Right. He has the hammy, dude. Typically with that, depending on the severity, we're looking at multi-game absence. We're typically in the
with no Dart, like I am just terrified of that offense now because you're a Packers guy. I mean, dude, the Packers should have had 5 interceptions in that game.
Oh, I know. We did not deserve to win that game.
Jameis had the highest turnover worthy throw rate in that game. Like, like you would expect Jameis to have.
The Giants had how do I phrase this? They had the second highest rush rate over expectation of any team in any game this season last week. They were like, Jameis is not doing it for us, but it's like, what are all our alternatives? Like, Jameis, go out there, dude, but we're just going to run the football.
And the Lions at home this year are 4th in pressure rate and 3rd in sack rate. We didn't mention it, but like if you're stacking Lions, I mean, Lions defense probably also part of that stack.
100% live. On the same team, John Mechie scored a touchdown last week. Is he pique any interest for you?
I just worry because he scored the touchdown on a broken play. Like, that was the only thing. But they like Aaron Glenn was open. Like they're going to play the young dudes outside of quarterback. But they said they're leaning into playing these, Mechie, Adonai Mitchell, Isaiah Williams. So if you.
The last name that I'll throw out before we jump off here, we're at our time, is Noah Fant with the asterisk, only if Mike Gesicki does not return. He got in a full practice yesterday. I haven't seen the practice report yet. They opened his 21-day practice window this week, and he's already getting full practices in. So it looks like Gesicki might be back. That'll affect Noah Fant's snap rate, route participation rate, all that stuff. I guess I have one more question. Any feelings either way on Andre Yoshivas?
Well, after Michael Wilson last week, I think we got to keep an open mind.
Sure.
Because everything on paper objectively says no. But I said like you got to adjust your priors, I guess, a little bit. If you're playing the opportunity game. I mean, Andre Yoshivas, we have really no sample of Jamar Chase missing time. Like this dude has just been like he missed time like 3 years ago. But he's just been on the field. So there's like no immediate sample of him being off the field. But if you even want to use last year's stuff with T. Higgins off the field, Andre Yoshivas averaged 0.5 yards per out run. So half of a yard per out run. Only targeted on 10% of his routes. He has one career game of 66 yards. Now, these were all things you might have said about Michael Wilson last week. So I at least reserve that. But what we didn't talk about that game, though, from the T. Higgins side with Jamar Chase being out. As good as Christian Gonzalez has been, if you look at like the Patriots, like they still give up big games to wide receiver ones.
The one certainty I have from the Bengals, because I don't expect them, and I know we're eating up time, we're past our time, but we got to talk about this real quick. The one certainty I think I have from the Bengals, I don't expect them to move the football consistently. Jamar Chase is just too big of a key cog in this offense. What I do expect is downfield shots to T. Higgins against man coverage. Like that should be a constant here. Getting Joe Burrow back, that should carry higher efficiency as well with ball placement, all the things. So I don't love it. I don't hate it. Wide range of outcomes. And I'll just defer to ownership there.
Beautiful. Yeah.
All right, y'all. Sorry, we will get you these 2 minutes back next week. I promise. But this was Searching for Ceiling. He is Rich. You know where to find him over at Sharp Football Analysis. I am Hilow over at oneweekseason.com. Thank you for joining us for week 12. We will see you next week. Until then, we'll see you at the top of the leaderboards. Peace.
1 week season.